So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here about BSN Network. Welcome back here, BSN Network. This is BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, April 2nd. Hopefully everybody had a good rest of their day. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday and having a good day so far today. It is, in fact, April 2nd here today. We are now a day after opening day. Obviously, opening day was yesterday. We are now here today. Some more games on today. A couple teams' first games today, so that should be good. Very exciting there to see baseball back. I know the Orioles and Red Sox, they play their first games today. And other than that, that's it. They play their first games today, and other than that, the rest of the league hasn't played their games except the Mets and Nationals, as the Mets, that game got postponed yesterday. But other than that, the rest of the league has played. So today we got some more baseball action, which is great. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. So another day of baseball. Another day of baseball is on tap today. Yankees took a tough loss yesterday, 3-2. Weren't able to come through. We left, 10 runners in scoring position. We weren't able to come through with runners in scoring position, and that's really was the story of the game. That really was how the game went. It's tough that the game had to go that way. It's tough that the Yankees had to lose in that fashion, final 10 innings. But it's the first game. It's not something that I'm going to sit here and be angry about. Obviously, I would have liked to start the season on a win streak and start on a win. Start on a winning note, but the Dodgers did lose yesterday as well. The A's lost, teams like that. The White Sox lost. So there was a lot of good teams that lost yesterday. I'm not going to sit here and be like the Yankees were the only team to lose. The Dodgers lost yesterday to arguably the worst team in baseball. So, one of the worst teams in baseball. So, but tough day for the Yankees. But hey, I'm not going to sit here and be angry about it. We'll move on. Day off today. We got a game tomorrow. As we finish up Saturday, Sunday, we finish up this 3-game set against the Blue Jays. And then we kind of get into, the season. The everyday games, the every day. And then when we kind of get into the season and get into the true grind of the 162. So, I'm looking forward to it. Kind of recap last night in sports other than the Yankees, obviously, game. The Nets also picked up a win yesterday, 111-89. A big win. We're dominating from the start. 111-89. We were winning, I believe, after the first quarter, 30-11. Just dominant from the start. There was no slowing us down. LaMarcus Aldridge got the start. I like the idea of not starting DeAndre Jordan. LaMarcus Aldridge did great. He did very well. So hopefully he can continue that. I would like to see if he can. And then the Rangers also got a win yesterday. It was shaky. It was an iffy win, but we got it done nonetheless, and that's all that matters. The Sabres scored a goal with 3.6 seconds left in the game. That tied it 2-2. We ended up going to overtime. A beautiful feed by Panarin. 2-on-1 opportunity. Mika Zibanejad put in the back of the net. We got the win, so it was a good win for the Rangers. We got the win. We are now 3 points away from a playoff spot. We get back into that 3-point spot, but I would love to just got the win in regulation, just got the job done. That's all I'm asking. It was definitely it was nerving. It was nerve-wracking, to be honest. We were, 40 seconds away from going to a shootout. So, obviously, the Rangers got the win. It was shaky. I shouldn't say we didn't play good. We just almost blew it, is what I should say. So, but the Rangers got the win. That's all that matters. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, we barely won. We won. We got the job done. That's all that matters. Day off today. Play against the Sabres tomorrow to wrap up the quick 2-game set in Buffalo. The Nets obviously have a day off today and tomorrow, so they don't play again until Sunday, which is going to be a front end of a back-to-back. So, a lot of sports, a lot of back-to-backs for the Brooklyn Nets. So, that's kind of it for New York Sports Update, though. Knicks played today as well. Islanders got crushed last night, 8-4. So that was a big game for the division. So the Capitals, I believe, now would be first place, I believe. So Islanders have, from that 8-9 game win streak, they were on not 8-9 game win streak, but they were on a big winning spree. They won 13 of 16 or something. They've kind of fallen back a little bit. So we'll see if they can get back on a run. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of kind of what happened in New York sports. Obviously, the Mets didn't play yesterday. The game got postponed. So they were originally going to have a day off today, so that today's day off is going to stay that way, and they'll play tomorrow. Depending on how the Nationals' COVID tests go and if everything comes back clean, then I guess there will be a game tomorrow. Not the greatest way to start off the season if you're the Mets or the Nationals. Obviously, you want to play, but especially if you're the Nationals, you don't want to start off the season with a minor outbreak. That's one of the worst things you could possibly do. So I'm hearing it's a lot of staff and only like 3 members. That's what I'm hearing of the team, 3 players. So good thing it's only 3 players and not like 15 players, or else that would really be a big wipeout. But we'll see. So anyway, so Yankees obviously have a day off today as well. But these are our topics for today. I mentioned it yesterday in the podcast while I was doing the podcast. Obviously, I was doing it. I was talking about MLB, so I didn't have time to really touch upon it because the news broke during the pod. But Roy Williams has retired, and North Carolina head coach, one of the greatest head coaches in sports, to be honest. Not just college basketball, especially in college basketball. I mean, he's probably a top 3. You could argue he's the best coach in college basketball history, and one of the best coaches in sports history. Roy Williams has called it retired, has called it quits. He's retiring after 33 years with North Carolina and Kansas. 33 combined, obviously 33 years with North Carolina, and obviously also coached with Kansas. So he's it. He's done. His career is finished. And I want to get into really wanted to get into how successful a career he had, because he had a great career. I'm going to talk about what mark he leaves on North Carolina, and I'm also going to talk about the future of North Carolina basketball, and I'm going to talk about what head coach they could possibly bring in and how this could impact North Carolina basketball, the fact that Roy Williams is no longer the coach. So Roy Williams has called it. He is hanging up, I guess you can't say hang up the cleats, but he is, hung up the coaching clipboard, or whatever you want to say it, as he has decided to retire. And whatever he decides to do next is, I don't know, but whatever it is, he had a great coaching career, had a lot of success with North Carolina, and a lot of the reason North Carolina is such a good team is because of Roy Williams, and a lot of reason why Roy Williams is so good is because of, the team he built in North Carolina, and he obviously won 3 national championships with them, most recently 2017, I believe. So had a great career. I mean, just accolades, just a Hall of Fame coach. So can't say much more about him other than he was just an all-time great coach. So we'll get into that. Then we'll get into opening day recap. Opening day was obviously yesterday. So I kind of want to recap it, tell you who won, give you the Yankees game, go through some of the numbers, kind of just my thoughts on opening day, my thoughts on the games, and then we'll obviously get into today's games as well, along with the rest of the sports. So we'll get into that, and then we'll get into the New York Sports Update to finish off the podcast. So like I said, the Nets have 2 days off. We don't play tomorrow, or we don't play today, and we don't play tomorrow. So 2 days off. We pick it back up on Sunday with an afternoon game in Chicago. So, Chicago Bulls, a team that made a big addition at the trade deadline, adding Nikola Vucevic. Hopefully the Nets can take him down. That's obviously the goal. So, we'll see how it all plays out. But as of right now, the Brooklyn Nets are rolling. They're rolling right now. They are rolling. They really are. They are just 34-15, we're the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and it was a good win last night against the Hornets, right? The Hornets are missing, obviously the Hornets are missing one of their star players, but obviously, we'll see how it all plays out, with the Hornets. Obviously, they are a 4 seed right now, so they're behind the Nets. They're behind the Nets, 76ers and Bucks, and then that's them. So we'll see how it all plays out, but the Nets are cruising right now, and that's all that matters, and the Rangers continue their fight to try to get into a playoffs. But that's all I'm asking for. It's just get into the playoffs. If you lose the first round, sure, it's going to stink because obviously you want them to win as many games as you can, but I just want them to get to the playoffs. I want to see extra hockey. 56 games is not that much, so if we can get any more games, I'm okay with that. So please get to the playoffs. That's all I want. So we'll get into all that, finish it off, put the cherry on top on a Friday podcast here, headed into another sports weekend that has got a lot of good action. College basketball all through today. Today we got some Final Four for the women's college basketball, and then tomorrow we got the men's tournament as well. Houston, Baylor, and then obviously Gonzaga, UCLA as the second game tomorrow. So should be good. But with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So Hall of Fame head coach Roy Williams retires after 33 years with North Carolina in Kansas, as Roy Williams, a Hall of Fame coach, one of the best coaches to ever do it, has officially called it quits. 48 years on the sideline, 33 years total as a head coach, so 15 years as like an assistant, as like an assistant coach. He is now officially called it quits, and there's not much else I gotta say. I could literally just sit here and say he's great, because that's really all you could say. But, Roy Williams has had just a phenomenal career from, winning the Final Four, from all he's done with the players, getting a lot of these guys in the draft. He's done such an excellent job with North Carolina. And obviously, that's another thing, too. This season, I think was definitely hard on him. I think that's another thing too. Obviously, with the whole everything going on, you didn't have the full off season to. You obviously didn't have the full. But obviously, you didn't have the full off season. You didn't have the full. Training and stuff like that. So, obviously, it was a tough year for North Carolina basketball, especially they lost a lot of guys to the draft. They lost guys like Cole Anthony, a year before that, Kobe White. So, they lost a lot of guys to the draft, and so far, those players have been pretty good. Kobe White has been solid. He's still learning and growing, and Cole Anthony's his rookie year, which he's been pretty good as well. If you give him more minutes, I think he could even be better. But obviously, he's done a lot. This is a guy that's gotten so many guys to the NBA, has done so much for this team, and ultimately got him through 3 national championships. And this year wasn't easy for North Carolina. This was a team at the beginning of the year. Obviously, was a lot of people expected them to do really well, and obviously it didn't happen, and that happened to a lot of teams. Everyone had Duke doing well, had Kentucky doing well, and had North Carolina doing well, and obviously Kentucky and Duke both missed the tournament, but obviously North Carolina made the tournament. Now, were they the normal North Carolina in the tournament? No, they lost first round to Wisconsin. They weren't the same North Carolina team. But that's also because, it was an odd year. It was an odd year. You lost a lot of players to the NBA draft. You weren't able to get many players. But I thought the way Roy Williams, all those national championships years that he had were great. They were amazing. He did an amazing job. But I think this year, too, he did an underrated, amazing job with this team. He took a team that lost Cole Anthony. Obviously, Kobe White got drafted, a year before Cole Anthony. He took a team mainly that lost Cole Anthony, because I really want to get into Cole Anthony. He was the star of that team, the freshman of that team, the young guy in that team that was almost acting like a veteran. He came onto the scene, was great. Cole Anthony, he took that team. He came here, and to be honest, North Carolina this year lost a lot of players. Now, did they also have some seniors and juniors and sophomores coming back? Yeah. But for the most part, they had lost a lot of players. And with the shortened offseason, with the shortened, training and all that stuff, obviously, having a week or two to prepare with all those young guys trying to build chemistry in that short amount of time was really tough. And we saw it with Duke, we saw it with Kentucky, and we saw it a little bit with North Carolina. But I think what goes to show you that he's a great coach. Not only the fact that he took those titles, that he won all those March Madness, that he got this team to the tournament so many times. It was also the fact that he took this team this year that wasn't as good, definitely wasn't as talented. He took them. They were struggling in the beginning. They did not look good. They honestly looked like they weren't going to make the tournament. But he took this team, and he took them to the March Madness. And yes, they got in as what? An 8 seed, I believe. And yes, they lost first round. I get that. But when you took a team at the beginning of the year that did not look good, looked lost, did not look great at all. They looked like a team that wasn't going to finish top 5 in the ACC. He took that team and took them to the March Madness because they won late. They won a lot late in the season. They started to build competitive. He kind of said to the team, hey, this is it. You want your March Madness opportunity? We got to go out and win these final 7, 8, 9 games. We got to win at least 6 or 7 of them, right? And they did that, and North Carolina did that, and Roy Williams was a big part of that. So yes, I know a lot of people. He didn't finish his career on the sparkling note. The finals win. Oh, let's retire after we win another tournament. You don't realize how hard it is to win an NCAA tournament. So, that would have been interesting. But this is a guy this is a guy that's just been so dominant. He's seen years and years and years and years and different players of basketball each year. And the way he's been able to, grow, the way he's been able to come onto the scene and has been so dominant. The fan base, the college basketball has rallied around him. He's been a great coach. And, it was time, I think, to retire. And obviously, I caught it by surprise because I don't think anyone really realized that he was going to retire. It wasn't something that you'd expect on April 1st to just retire. And I know some people out there thought it was an April Fool's joke, but it wasn't. But it's the truth, though. I mean, obviously we all knew that he was towards the end of his career than he was closer. He was closer to the end of his career than he was closer to the beginning of his career, and I think many people knew that. But I don't think, there wasn't any hints throughout the season of him retiring. I mean, it could have just been the fact that, hey, he is getting older. He's up there in age. He has a little bit of health issues. We've seen him on the sidelines sometimes, go down on one knee and stuff like that. He definitely has some health problems, and hey, he's getting older. He might want to spend some time with his family, and also, it's a lot of stress being head coach. He might just want to live, a stress-free life from now on because of, coaching at one of the biggest teams in all of college basketball in North Carolina, a big-name school, a big-name college basketball school. And North Carolina's going to miss Roy Williams. That's the truth. And one thing that was so great about Roy Williams, and I'm going to get into some of the numbers and stuff, and the same thing with Kentucky, John Calipari, Duke, Coach K, right? They're all those teams, right? All those different coaches. There's obviously so many of them. Mark Few at Gonzaga, so many different coaches. All the big name schools, Gonzaga, Duke, Kentucky, in this case, North Carolina, right? All those big name schools, all those big name basketball schools, a lot of times those coaches go really hard on the players and they make the players earn their spot. And the reason I mean this, and you might think, oh, well, that's an obvious answer, but I mean this, I want to explain this, right? Let's say you come onto the scene, no matter if you're a 5-star recruit or if you're a 2-star recruit or if you're a 3-star recruit, whatever the case may be. These coaches make you earn your spot. If you're a 5-star recruit, that doesn't automatically mean you're going to be automatically on the team, or you're going to be on the team, but that doesn't automatically mean you're going to be getting all the minutes, you're going to be all of this. All these coaches want to win. These coaches want to win. These coaches want to develop these players the right way. If they feel like you're ready to play, they will play you. If they don't, then they won't play you. And that's one of the big things. No matter if you are a 5-star freshman or coming on as a 2-star or coming on as a walk-on, these coaches are going to give everyone an even opportunity. What they see at camp, what they see at practice is going to decide whether they are ready for the games or not. And we saw that this year with Kentucky. B.J. Boston, who declared for the NBA draft. He started off the season, he started off really strong. He went through a little bit of stretch where he wasn't playing well. He kind of, mentally, he was kind of just down on himself a little bit. He went through a little bit of a stretch. So Calipari said, you know what? We're gonna take you out of the starting lineup for now. We're gonna have you coming off the bench. He came off the bench. His play started to improve. They put him back in the starting lineup. He started to do better. Because sometimes when players build their confidence back up, playing down a level, not having as much pressure on them, being a starter, that's sometimes what happens. So that's one of the things where Roy Williams was so good at, right? He pushed the guys. He made them earn their spots. Because if you come on and you automatically think it's gonna be a cakewalk to the finish, an easy walk, if they think that, that's not the truth. When you go to these big name schools, you're getting really good coaching. You're getting coaching that wants you to get better, and you're getting coaching that's only ultimately going to make you earn. And that's why you see so many college basketball prospects come out of North Carolina, come out of Kentucky, come out of Gonzaga, come out of Duke. Well, that's why we see so many guys do that. R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, Cole Anthony, Kobe White. This year, Jalen Suggs, Corey Crisper, and Drew Timme are going to go there, right? We see all that kind of stuff. B.J. Boston and them have declared for the draft. They haven't got drafted yet, but they've declared for the draft. So all those big-name schools, that's why they produce all these players, because they don't go lightly on the players. They do go hard on them, but they go hard on them in a good way. They truly want them to get better. They want them to earn their spot on the roster. They want them to earn their spot on the roster. You're not just going to come to North Carolina and say, oh, I'm going to make the team. You got to earn it. And Roy Williams did that. And that's something that North Carolina is going to miss in their next head coach, is a coach in Roy Williams that every day wanted the guys to get better. And his practices were very hard. I mean, they were the truth. They were very hard practices. You got to show up. You got to practice like you play. What you show me in practice is deciding on whether how much you're gonna play in games, and that's why North Carolina is such a successful basketball school, is because a guy like Roy Williams came in, and obviously he was coaching with Kansas, but he's most memorable for North Carolina, which that's the truth though. He is most memorable with North Carolina. I mean, he won all the titles and stuff like that, but just a great coach, an all around excellent coach, and what's something that is so crazy is he coached 48 years. That's almost like 50 years. That's like crazy. So he's coached 40 years, 33 as a head coach, which is just a long time. And obviously, most recently was the coach of North Carolina and stuff like that. But, like I said, it was one of these things where you're kind of surprised that he retired, but at the same time, you're not surprised because it's like, it's like you're surprised because like no one ever said anything about it. Like it wasn't like during the year he was kind of hinting towards retirement. We see that sometimes with players. We're saying, whatever the case may be, they were hinting towards it. Roy Williams never really hinted towards retirement. He was kind of just that kind of guy that was just, he just kind of went about it and coached this year. And, I guess at the end of the day, he felt it was best for him. So he has retired. But I was kind of like, it wasn't that I was surprised. I was more just like, it was kind of just like I wasn't expecting it, but you knew that he was getting up there in age. He was getting older. You knew that he was going to retire eventually. I just don't know if we all expected it to happen now. And also, it came on April 1st, April Fool's Day. It was kind of like it was kind of like there was a lot going on to think that it wasn't real, but it sure enough was, as he did hold a press conference yesterday officially announcing it. And like I said, after I read this quick article here, I want to get into some of his achievements, and I want to get into some of the coaches, because I'll tell you what, he's leaving a big hole. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to fill the shoes of Roy Williams. They might do a good job, but I don't know if they're going to do as good as a job as Roy Williams has done with North Carolina. And like I said, not only one of the best college basketball coaches of all time, one of the best sports coaches of all time, that's including football, NBA, NFL, including pro sports. This is one of the best sports coaches of all time. Hall of Fame head coach Roy Williams retires after 33 years with North Carolina and Kansas. North Carolina men's basketball coach Roy Williams announced his retirement Thursday after 48 years on the sideline, including 33 years as a head coach at UNC in Kansas. Williams, who ranks third all-time among Division I men's basketball coaches with 903 career wins, was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2007. North Carolina basketball tweeted this out. After 33 years as a Hall of Fame head coach, our beloved Tar Heel Roy Williams is announcing his retirement. Thank you for all you've done and meant to everyone who plays and loves our game. Thank you, Coach. That was that. The North Carolina native was a member of UNC's freshman team during the 1968-1969 season. He received a master's degree in teaching from the university in 1973 and began his coaching career later that year at Charles D. Owen High School and the Tar Heel State. He returned to North Carolina in 1978 and spent a decade as an assistant on the staff of the legendary Dean Smith before leaving in 1988 to take over at Kansas. Williams guided the Jayhawks to a 418-101 record, 805 winning percentage across 15 years, with 14 appearances in the NCAA tournament and 4 trips to the Final Four. The former Robertson High School standout returned to his college alma mater for the final stop of his coaching career in 2003. Williams led the Tar Heels to 3 national championships, 2005, 2009, and 2017, in 18 seasons with the program. He recorded 7 30-win campaigns as a part of 485-163 and 163 record, 748 overall record. North Carolina posted a 14-19 mark in 2019-2020, the first time in the Hall of Fame coach's career that one of his collegiate teams finished with a losing record, but it bounced back to go 18-11 with NCAA tournament bid this year. They did obviously struggle, in 2019 and 2020, like I mentioned earlier, and this season too, they struggled a little bit as well, but they were able to bounce back. Duke sent this out. Salute to North Carolina's head coach Roy Williams and a legendary 48 career. All respect. Thank you for all you've done for the game, our league, and the greatest rivalry in sports. Obviously, North Carolina and Duke, big rivalry. Williams said the team's first-round loss to Wisconsin at the disjointed season caused by the coronavirus pandemic took a toll on him. I started the season when I was 70 years old, and I felt like I'm 103, he told reporters. It's been a difficult year, but everyone's had the problems with COVID that we've had. It's been a hard year to push and pull every other day to get something done. Steve Robinson, Hubert Davis, and Brad Frederick were the Tar Heels' assistant coaches during the 2020-2021 season. It's unclear whether the program will promote from within or seek an outside replacement for one of the best coaches in college basketball history. Let's see. All right. So along with the 3 national titles and the Basketball Hall of Fame induction, Williams' accolades include being named Associated Press Coach of the Year twice, 18 conference regular season titles, 7 conference postseason titles, and 9 Final Four appearances. He was also inducted into College Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006. So he is obviously done now. As the head coach of North Carolina, obviously. But so it looks like he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2007, but then down here it said 2006. Oh, College Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006, and he was deducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2007. Okay, so yeah, so Roy Williams he's done. And one of the things that I saw in here was the whole assistant coach, and let me get to that. So some of the coaches that might be a replacement. And obviously Calipari also sent something out about Roy Williams as well. Just was how great he was as a coach. If you really don't realize, yes, there are rivalries, Kentucky and Duke, and, Duke and North Carolina, especially Duke and North Carolina. But, a lot of these, especially that three of them, Calipari, Coach K, and Roy Williams, especially the three of them, they have major respect. They're going down as some of the better coaches of all time. All right, so Jerry Stackhouse of Vanderbilt is a possible option. He's a North Carolina legend, so that's an option of him going there. Steve Robinson, who's an assistant for North Carolina. Then you got Mike Boynton of Oklahoma State, which obviously Oklahoma State had a very good season. He's produced number 1 overall pick Cade Cunningham, who's going to be the potential number 1 overall pick, I should say. Hubert Davis, also North Carolina assistant. Porter Moser, Loyola Chicago head coach. Scott Drew, who's the Baylor head coach. And Wes Miller of UNC Greensboro. So, to be honest, I think if you had to pick, a coach, not Roy Williams won't have any say in this. I'm sure he's going to have, I'm sure he might give him a suggestion. He might say, hey, they might ask him, genuinely, how about this guy or how about that guy, right? And it's tough to say whether, it's tough to say where they're going to go, whether they're going to hire an assistant that was an assistant, hire a coach that was just not there, or whatever the case may be. It's going to be interesting whatever they hire, because whoever they hire, I don't think they're going to be able to completely fill in the shoes of Roy Williams. They might be able to be successful, but they're not going to be I don't think they're going to be able to be as successful as Roy Williams. And I'm not saying they won't be bad, but I'm just saying Roy Williams is on another level. You can't possibly tell me that someone's going to be the next, that guy's going to be exactly what Roy Williams did. Roy Williams is one of the greatest coaches in all of sports. So you can't possibly sit here and tell me a guy who's got 903 wins, third all time among coaches, that he's not going to be able to, that he's, that someone's going to come back and fill exactly his shoes. So whoever comes back, and that's another thing too. I'm not saying, North Carolina basketball I think is still going to be good. I think they're still going to be a powerhouse. Do I think they're going to be the same North Carolina basketball we saw with Roy Williams? I'm not sure. It might take a couple seasons, because you also got to realize some of these players came here to strictly play for Roy Williams and how good of a coach he is. You bring a new coach in there, it changed the image of North Carolina basketball. That's with any organization. Which is why maybe you go with an assistant. Someone who's been with North Carolina, been under Roy Williams' staff, kind of taking what Roy Williams did and kind of bringing it into his own, maybe bringing it into, kind of taking what Roy Williams did and putting it into, his system and maybe putting his own little spin on it. Or do you bring a new face in? A guy from Baylor who's got his team in the Final Four. A guy from Loyola Chicago who's got, who's done a great job with Loyola Chicago. Do you bring a guy from Jerry Stackhouse where everybody from North Carolina knows he's a North Carolina legend, right? Who do you bring in? That's the big question. Do you go out and try to bring in a guy from a big name school, something like something like the Baylor coach? Or do you go ahead and kind of just take an assistant that's been under Roy Williams, kind of might do the same thing as Roy Williams did, kind of work-wise and, system-wise and, team-wise and kind of do that kind of stuff, right? What do you do? Or do you bring a completely fresh face in and kind of say, you know what, let's start fresh, right? Roy Williams has, great coach with us, let's start fresh. Bring in a new guy and hopefully he can start his own legacy here. That's something that the AD and athletic director and North Carolina's got to decide. That's going to be interesting. But, I think North Carolina will still definitely be a powerhouse. I think they'll still definitely be a good team. But I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of head coach. I think the big thing with North Carolina is they got to hire the right guy. If they don't hire the right guy and he doesn't do a good job and they don't do well, there's a problem then. Because then North Carolina basketball might go down a little bit. They got to hire the right guy. Whoever it is, they got to hire the right guy. And then I might sound like Captain Obvious answer, but it's truth. Whether you think that right guy, like, they got to just go with their instincts. You know, if they think that hiring an assistant is the right deal, do with it. Maybe instead of trying to go out and get a big-name coach like the Baylor coach who's got them in the Final Four, maybe you just go with an assistant, play it safe. Worst case scenario, 2 years in, assistant stinks, you go ahead and say, you know what? All right, this isn't working out for us, right? You do something like that. Because you might be taking a bigger risk going out and signing a brand new face, putting a brand new face into this organization or into this college, into this program, than just bringing a guy that's already been with the program, been under Roy Williams, and kind of done like things like that. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But comment down below your thoughts on Roy Williams and your thoughts on his great career and obviously just an excellent career for him. And, he did a great job with North Carolina and has made North Carolina one of the best, programs, college basketball programs out there. And a lot of those guys, the reason those guys go there is because of Roy Williams. And that's something that, might change a little bit here is when they bring in a new coach. Is it going to be the same, high-end prospects coming to North Carolina? But, it's going to be ginormous shoes to fill. It's going to be big shoes to fill. We'll see if North Carolina can hire the right guy. We'll see. Definitely going to be an interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see who they hire. A lot of times I notice coaching hires in college take quicker than head coaching hires in sports. I just feel that way. Maybe because there's less candidates, or sometimes they might already have a feeling. Although off of retirement, North Carolina might not have knew this was going to completely happen. So maybe they had maybe they're kind of a little bit caught off guard here. As for if they knew they were going to fire a coach, they could have already been looking over some different options. So we'll see how it all plays out. But the Roy Williams, Hall of Fame coach, one of the best to ever do it, has retired. Coming up next, I'm going to get into opening day. Yesterday was opening day. We're going to kind of recap it, talk about how it went, everything that went on, and we'll get into opening day. It was a great day to see baseball back. And it was very fun to watch all the games. So, coming up next, we'll get into opening day recap. Alrighty, so, yesterday was opening day, obviously in the MLB. To kind of go through some of the scores, and then we'll get into a little bit of the Yankees game and stuff. Well, first off, before we get into the scores, it was a good opening day. I enjoyed it. Obviously, the Yankees obviously didn't get a win. They ended up losing, but it's the first game of the season. I've said it all along. I don't like the second base rule, and sure enough, there was obviously the runner on second base. They ended up scoring the run. It was just not a good rule. It's not a good rule. They could put that rule into the game, but they don't have. A universal DH. So I don't like the rule at all. I think it's a dumb rule. I think many people can agree on that it's a stupid rule. You cannot gift a guy a base. He didn't earn that base. He doesn't earn it. And I get it. 13, 15 inning games could be tough for teams, could be tough for coaches, could be tough for players. If you play a 15 inning game and the next day you got a day game, well, that's a problem, right? Because then you're not getting home till really late, right? Let's say you have a night game. You have a 15 inning game. It lasts till 1, 2 in the morning. You get home, maybe 2:30, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning maybe after all your interviews and stuff. Boom, you get 3 hours of sleep, and you got 3-4 hours of sleep, and you got to get back at the ballpark. Something like that. So I get it. 15, 16, 17 inning games, we've even seen 18, 19 before, are really long. Even 12 inning games are long. Because you assume a regular game is going to take about 3 hours. 12 inning games is going to take another hour and a half. So that's going to be about 4.5 hours. So I get it. It's long. And to be honest, when a game gets into 19 and 20 innings, and it gets to the point where it's so late, and you're watching the game, and it's getting to the point where, can this game just end already? I get that. But I just don't think the MLB should put a runner on second base. How many times, this is my question too, how many times do we see a runner on, how many times do we see a 17-inning game? I would like to look up the exact percentage in the MLB on how many times we actually get to see a runner, or actually get to see a 15, 16-inning game. If it's an 11-inning game, you're done. It's not that long. It's two extra innings. 12-inning games, 13, okay, they can get long. I would say once you get into the teens, that's when they can get long. And especially as the players get tired and, kind of wears on them, it could be tough. But maybe the MLB, I just don't think it's necessary, because I would like to put up the percentage of how many times they get. An entire year, not just for one team, an entire year, how many times do teams, make the, how many times do teams get to a 15, 16 inning game, or even 13 or 12 inning game? Not much. You're going to probably see a 10, 11, maybe 12 inning game, and that's it. You're not going to see many of these long inning games. And when you do, well, you do. That's how it just works. I think it's just, you're giving a guy a base that he didn't even earn, and you got to feel bad for the pitcher. Because yesterday, the guy had a double, he's all of a sudden home. The Yankees, it would have still been a tie game if they don't put that runner on second base. And that's not just me saying that the second base rule is dumb. There's been MLB players that have spoke on it. Clayton Kershaw, one of the biggest name guys in the league, Clayton Kershaw, has said that he doesn't like the rule. Pitchers don't like the rule because they have a guy at second base, and you also got to realize Clayton Kershaw doesn't like the rule. Obviously, he doesn't. But obviously, especially some closers don't like the rule. Pitchers don't like the rule. They don't. You're automatically starting on a second base. You're giving a guy a base that he didn't even earn. That blows my mind that the MLB would do that. You're giving a guy a base that he didn't even earn. And like I said, I've been saying this. I said some of the MLB's rule changes and plans. I made a video on that. I said I don't like the DH, I'm not the DH. I don't like the shift. I think the shift's really dumb. I don't like the runner on second base. I said the universal DH, I think it would be a good idea to have the universal DH. I think NL teams would actually benefit from it, and I could put many reasons out there. I think NL would benefit from it, but I mean AL obviously has a DH, so I'm okay with that. But I think NL would benefit from the DH. I really do. They benefited from it last season, so I think they would. That's not just because I truly do think NL could benefit from it. If you want to ask why, I can answer it for you in the comments. I could give you 50 million different reasons why. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all of them because that's not the point right now. But I've said this about the second base. I just don't think it's a great rule. And yesterday, the Yankees lost. We lost 3-2. It's you want to start off on a winning note, but it's one game. You play 162 games. It's not the end of the world. It's opening day. It's one game. It's 161 more games to go. The Dodgers lost. You really think the Dodgers season's over because they lost opening day? No. It's one game. I'm not going to get angry over one game. I'm just mad at the second base rule because, like I said, the hitting, the fielding, we still got to knock off some of the rust. Spring training is obviously knocking off some of the rust, but now you finally are going against the aces, the best starters out there, playing finally, your stadium, television, right? There's a little bit more nerves that come to opening day, right? So, obviously, the hitting, the fielding, that stuff will come. You're still knocking off some of the rust. The first 5-10 games, it might be a little rusty. So that stuff will come. But the fact that we got to go through a whole season with second base, with a runner on second base starting extra innings, I've never had a problem with the Yankees going to an extra inning game. I don't have a problem with it. But I'll tell you what, this season, I'm not going to want the Yankees to go into extra innings. I'm not. Unless if we're down by like 5 in the top of the ninth and we need bottom of the ninth, and if we get 5 runs and that's all we can get, then I'm okay with it. But if we don't need to go into extra innings, please don't. I don't want to. I guess it was pretty entertaining to get free baseball after all. But it's it's tough to go down like that. And like I said, I'm not, everyone, Judge, LeMahieu, Judge had a single yesterday, a nice hit, but Judge and all them, they definitely had some missed opportunities at the plate, right? We were trying, we had a guy at third base and stuff, and that's tough, obviously, but hopefully we can work on that throughout the year. That stuff, obviously that's tough, but that doesn't bother me as much as the fact that this is the second base rule. So hopefully the Yankees don't get into too many extra inning games. But if the Yankees did hurt themselves not getting a runner and running and scoring runners in scoring position, or not scoring with runners in scoring position. So, but anyway, let's look through the rest of the games. The Cheaters got a win yesterday, 8-1. So the Cheaters moved to 1-0 in the season. The Angels won 4-3. So they moved to 1-0. Royals won 14-10. Rockies got a win 8-5. Very interesting thing in that game. So what happened is Bellinger hit a home run. You might have saw this, but Bellinger hit a home run. It hit off of the outfielder's glove. Tapia, I think his name is. Hit off of his glove, the left fielder's glove. He went up, jumped for the catch, got his glove, just bounced right off of it. Wasn't able to get it. So obviously, bounced off of his glove, wasn't able to get it. So Justin Turner thought it was caught. So Justin Turner started to run all the way back. He was around second, headed to third. He saw he caught it, so he started to run all the way back, and he ended up crossing Cody Bellinger on the base path. So Cody Bellinger, since he crossed him, was technically the guy who was out. So they only got one run for the home run. They only got one run for the home run instead of two. Now, it obviously didn't end up mattering because they lost by 3, but if they would have ended up losing by 1 run, that 2-run home run that Bellinger had should have been 2-run, but they didn't because they crossed. So it's very confusing but interesting. But Rockies ended up getting a win either way. Cardinals won 11-6. Padres won 8-7. Rays won 1-0. Glasnow had a great game. Not much action going for the Marlins yesterday hitting, but the Rays got the win. Phillies got the win as well. That was another game that went to extra innings. Brewers got a win. Pirates got the win. Tigers got the win. Mariners got the win. So some upsets. The Pirates won. The Tigers won. Those were upsets. The Phillies, were the Phillies favored? Yeah, the Phillies were favored for some reason. I don't know why. The Phillies were favored for some reason. So obviously they were favored, but they got the win. So the Padres also got the win. Cardinals obviously got the win. Rockies got the win. They were the underdogs as well. And then obviously the Yankees lost yesterday 3-2. Yankees moved to 0-1 on the season. LeMahieu had a tough day. He went 0 for 4 with a walk. So didn't have a great day. But Judge went 1 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Everyone's beating up on Judge. They didn't come up big. Judge got a hit yesterday, people. Judge got a hit. Like, people don't realize Judge got a hit. Hicks didn't get a hit. Stan didn't get a hit. Urshela didn't get a hit. Bruce didn't get a hit. Right? Judge got a hit. People are all like, oh, Judge is swinging for the fences. He got a single. He got a line drive up the middle. He got a hit. I understand he missed some opportunities, but everyone's beating up on Judge. LeMahieu didn't get a hit. Stan didn't get a hit. Hicks didn't get a hit. So, really? It's just, it's just stupid. Everyone's beating up on Judge. He got a hit. He was one of the Yankees, let me see how many hits. He was one of the Yankees' 6 hits they had. So he got a hit. So, everyone's beating up on Judge. He got a hit. So, but yeah, Yankees bats were cold yesterday. Sanchez had a big day. Sanchez hit a home run. That was nice to see. And like I said, everyone, I didn't like Sanchez last year just because his production was down. If he could give me production, I'm okay with it. But he was good yesterday. He was good. Frazier had a big day too. But even him in the big moment wasn't able to get it done either. So, there's a lot of guys. Frazier weren't able to get it done. LeMahieu wasn't able to get it done. Judge wasn't able to get it done. Hicks and Stan weren't able to get it done. We had a lot of moments. So you can't hone in on one guy. Right? And that's what I've been saying. You can't hone in on one guy. You can't hone in on one guy beating him up and saying how bad he is when 5-6 guys missed opportunities at the plate. So, Yankees took a tough loss. But hey, it's the first game. We got 161 more to go, so hopefully we can capitalize tomorrow. Yeah, it's kind of what I got on opening day recap. It was a good opening day, even though the Yankees didn't get a win. Great to see regular season baseball back. So this is interesting. So Bill Self, who is another big name coach, has signed a lifetime contract with Kansas. So Kansas is also another big name basketball school. So does that mean he's going to be with them? Okay, yeah, so, yeah. So it looks like a lifelong contract. So that means that he's going to be with them, yeah, forever then. I guess until he retires then. So, wow, that's, you don't see too many of those, to be honest. Obviously you don't. That was quite interesting. Man, that's pretty, you don't see too many contracts like that. Like, oh, here's a contract. You're going to be with us forever now until you retire. So, he signed that deal. So, let's get into New York sports update, and then we'll finish off this podcast. Let's get to the NBA. So, yesterday, the Nuggets won, Hawks won, Magic won, Heat won, Pistons won, and 76ers won. Nets also won yesterday, 111-89. We moved to 34-15 on the season. Big win for us. Obviously, Jeff Green, Kyrie, 15 points. Jeff Green led the way with 21 points. Aldridge with 11 points. Bruce Brown, 14 points. Obviously, Jeff Green led the way. Kyrie also had a good game there. As for today, we got Raptors, Warriors. I'll give Raptors the win. Mavericks, Knicks, give Mavericks the win. Celtics, Rockets, give Celtics the win. Pacers, Hornets, give Pacers the win. Grizzlies, Timberwolves, give Grizzlies the win. Jazz, Bulls, give Jazz the win. Pelicans, Hawks, give Pelicans the win. Bucks, Trailblazers, give Bucks the win. Kings, Lakers, give Kings the win. And Suns, Thunder, give Suns the win. Tomorrow, the Nets don't play. Sunday, they play again. So I'll give the Nets the win then. As for the NHL, yesterday, the Wild won, Hurricanes won, Stars won, Panthers won, Islanders won, Penguins won, Lightning won, and Canadians won. Rangers also played today. Played yesterday. Rangers won 3-2. Moved to 17-15-4 in the season. Big win for the Rangers. Blackwell had a goal. Filipino had a goal. Gauthier had an assist. Lafreniere had an assist. Panarin had 2 assists. Stroman had an assist. And Zibanejad had a goal, which was the game winner. Panarin also added on with another assist. As for today's game, we got the Capitals, Devils. I'll give Capitals the win. Maple Leafs, Jets. I'll give Maple Leafs the win. Avalanche, Blues. Give Avalanche the win. Flames, Oilers. Give Oilers the win. Coyotes, Ducks. Give Coyotes the win. And Kings, Sharks. Give Kings the win. All right, so that's what I got there. And then as for the all right, so obviously today we got the Red Sox, Orioles. I'll give Red Sox the win. Rays, Marlins, give Rays the win. Dodgers, Rockies, give Dodgers the win. Angels, White Sox. I guess I'll give Angels the win. A's, Cheaters. I'll give A's the win. Padres, Diamondbacks. I'll give Padres the win. And then Mariners, Giants. I guess I'll give Mariners the win. Tomorrow's game, Kluber's on the mound. So I guess I'll give Yankees the win. And then Yankees Sunday. I'll decide my pick then. So that should be good. The Yankees play again tomorrow. Like I said, I just hope they can get the win. As for college basketball, tomorrow we got Baylor, Houston. Baylor coming in this game 5.5 point favorites. The game. So tomorrow for college basketball, we got Baylor versus Houston. Baylor comes in this game 5.5 point favorites. The over/under is 134.5 for this game. This game comes on tomorrow, 5:14 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. I'll give Baylor the win. And then Gonzaga comes in this game 14 point favorites. The over/under is 145.5. This game comes on tomorrow, 8:34 on CBS. 8:34 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. I'll give Gonzaga the win. So that's what I got there. Should be good. I'm ready for some college basketball as well. Should be exciting there. So, as for fantasy sports, fantasy baseball, I'm rolling right now. I'm currently winning 105-31. And today I've got going Will Smith, Matt Olson, Jake Cronenworth, Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, Austin Meadows, Manuel Margot, and also, that's what I got there. So, and then, to injury report for fantasy baseball, Josh Donaldson. Donaldson hamstring is likely to be reevaluated Friday. Betsley Helfland of St. Paul Pioneer Press reports. So, right now I have 3 guys on the IL. I cannot afford to have another guy go to the IL on Donaldson. But I had a lot of good guys yesterday. Good performances. So, as for fantasy basketball, I'm currently winning 864. Today I've got going Kemba Walker, Fred VanVleet, Jonas Valanciunas, Trae Young, Kyle Lowry, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam. So that's what I got there. And injury report is pretty much the same. Nothing new on the injury report. Lowry foot will be sidelined 7 to 10 days. Blake Murphy of The Athletic reports. Bradley Beal is also out. Beal hip will not play Thursday against the Pistons. Mark J. Spears of ESPN.com reports. So he's still out there. And as for fantasy hockey, I'm currently losing 78-50. So hopefully I can make a comeback. But today I've got going Anzes Kopitar, Johnny Gardouet, Nicholas Backstrom, Braden Shen, Nicola Ehlers, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, David Perron, Jacob Scheischer, and Justin Falk, Adam Larson, and that's what I got going. Jacob Martian's playing. I don't know if I'm going to start him, though. Just because they're playing an Oilers team that's a very good team. So I don't know if I'm going to start him or what I'm going to do, but we'll see how all that plays out. So, but yeah, that's what I pretty much got for the podcast. Another good week of podcasts in the book. Enjoy all the great sports this weekend. Another packed weekend of sports ahead of us, which is super, super, super exciting. So, that's what I got. Another great week of podcasts. Another good week of podcasts in the books. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.